Hi, I'm Rob Barnaville, and this is Behind the Streams. So, what's my first question? How would you describe your music? Well, I describe the music as dynamic, expansive, cinematic. It comes from lots of different influences, from reggae, drum and bass, rock, heavy metal. So, yeah, it's very wide. I play live drum and bass at one end of my spectrum to a beautiful acoustic ballad on the other end. So, it covers a lot of different genres, really. I think that's kind of done that one. So what's my next one? What is your songwriting process? Well, my songwriting process. It's a number of things, really. Sometimes I use a lot of alternate tunings, so I sometimes just pick a new tuning and noodle about in it and find something. Sometimes I hear a piece by another fingerstyle player and I want to try and copy that, so I learn how to play their song. My Achilles heel is I never finish playing their song because I end up writing my own song through half learning their songs. And sometimes it just comes to me in a flash. You know, I'll just pick up the guitar and I won't think too much about it. It's not a premeditated. I'm going to do this, and this. So yeah, that's kind of my songwriting process. Really, it's pretty dynamic. Really. So what's next? Can't get the card. What is the one thing you want your fans to take away from your music? Well, that's easy. I want them to feel something. I want you guys to feel something. Anything it is. If it's happiness, sadness, joy, elation, dance, you want to dance, or it takes you to a place far, far away, then I've done my job. If any music, if you don't feel it when you listen to it, then it hasn't done its job, in my opinion. So that's a short answer, because I think that's an easy one. If you could go on tour with anyone, past or present, who would it be? Right, well, I have had to think about this one. And my immediate reaction is to say Led Zeppelin and AC/DC, because I think they'd be the most fun to go on tour with. I think they'd be pretty mental. However, I don't think a fingerstyle guitarist as their tour support would probably work too well. So I would have to say my dear friends John Gomm and Thomas Lieb, who are fingerstyle gods in the percussive fingerstyle world. John is arguably one of the best acoustic guitar players on the planet. And yeah, I'd love nothing more than to share a stage with those two. Thomas is a good friend who runs a boot camp in Austria every year, which I go to on top of a mountaintop. Haven't done recently, planning to soon. And I'd love to share a stage with him. So that's who I'd go on tour with. What about this one? Plan my ideal festival. Who's on the bill? Right, because I work at a lot of festivals when I'm not playing guitar. I like bands and stuff for a living. I'd have to have probably 3 stages of stuff for my ideal lineup. Main stage, people like Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Pink Floyd, Idols, Radiohead, Gravenhurst, Smith, Joy Division, Nirvana. Kind of a lot of the 27 Club, really, Jimi Hendrix. Then I'd have an acoustic tent where I'd have all of the fingerstyle players that I love. That would be John Gomm, Thomas Lieb, Preston Reed, Callum Graham, Don Ross. If you haven't heard any of these names, I do encourage you to check these people out. Petri Sariola, Punch Brothers, Janis Joplin, Simon and Garfunkel, for a bit of retro. And then, because of my drum and bass love, I'd have to have a dance tent as well. And I'd have to have Represent from Bristol, Lay Black from Bristol, Barrier Kingdom from Bristol, all the Full Cycle crew and the Valve recording boys. That would probably do me. I'd be pretty happy with that. I may not remember much of it, but it'd be a wicked festival. What's next? If you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? There we go. Well, I'd have to say it's a song that most people, and it's not really a song, it's more of a piece, it's a track which most people would never have heard of, by an artist that no one's ever heard of, really, called Aerial Boundaries by Michael Hedges. And the reason for that is, about 5 years ago, I'm not ashamed to talk about it, I had a mental breakdown, and that track, when I heard it, gave me enlightenment, gave me hope, and gave me the purpose to move on with my life and to start playing the style of music that I now play. So I don't see that as a bad time of my life. I see it as an epiphany moment, as a good, positive change in my life. So that track always reminds me of that period. And every time I hear that track, the layers in it just take me away. And I always hear something different in the music. So again, if you haven't heard Aerial Boundaries by Michael Hedges, check it out. What's next? Which artist would be your perfect dinner date? I did think about this, and I thought, well, I was a big fan of Joy Division when I was a kid, and I thought Ian Curtis. But anyone that knows of Joy Division and Ian Curtis, he wouldn't be a very good dinner date. He wouldn't say much at all. So I did think Prince, which is an unusual choice, but Prince is one of the greatest multi-instrumentalists this planet has ever seen. Great songwriter, and I think I could learn loads from him. And I think he's a really interesting chap. So yeah, that would be my dinner date. Don't know what his eating habits would be like, but sadly I'll never find out. So, if you were being a diva, what would be your dream rider? Well, being a lighting designer for my job, aside from playing the guitar, I'd have to say the lighting design done by myself with a limitless budget, with a beautiful Blackstar Sonic monitor rig, because then I can actually hear what I'm doing rather than having it in my earphones. And then the obvious thing, a ton of American IPA specifically, and a rack of ribs, and maybe some hot towels and a jacuzzi would be nice. So, it could be endless really, but, let's not get ridiculous. So, what is this one? What can we expect to see from you in the future? Well, that's an easy one. I was planning to record. I had a studio booked in March last year to record an album, and that didn't happen, obviously, for obvious reasons that we all know about. And the money that I'd saved for that, I've had to use to support my family. So, yes, recording an album is going to happen imminently, as soon as I possibly can. I've already talking to my producer about doing that, and hopefully that will happen within the next 12 months, COVID permitting. And also, a tour. Do a lot more. I did plan to do a European tour last year. Again, that didn't happen. And do a lot more gigs around the UK. Some festivals, get some really good acoustic festivals would be nice. So that's what's going to be happening with me. And I think this is the last one. Where can people go to keep up with your music? Well, several things really. There's YouTube, Facebook, Music Glue, Rob Barnaville at Music Glue, and Bandcamp and SoundCloud. That's all places where you can find my music and videos of my music. But soon I'm going to be launching robbarnaville.com, where you can find all of this stuff, and there'll be a merch place where you can buy t-shirts, you'll be able to buy tabs for my music, you'll be able to buy the music, obviously. So look out for robbarnaville.com, but in the meantime, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Music Glue, all those things. I've been Rob Barnaville. Thanks for listening. I hope to catch you all soon.